You're watching DefunctTV. This episode is sponsored by Topps Disney Collect, a digital card trading game for iOS and Android. Topps Disney Collect lets you collect and trade Disney character cards with beautiful and unique designs, all from the comfort of your couch. Download the free app on iOS or Android today, and make sure to check out the Dumbo Heritage Set, featuring rare high-quality comics and art pieces with your favorite flying elephant. But now, back to DefunctTV, on the Defunctland channel. On April 18, 1983, the Walt Disney Company debuted its new television venture, the Disney Channel. The new premium children's channel featured a lineup of original programming from day one, and one of the most popular shows to debut was Welcome to Pooh Corner. The series took audiences back to the 100-acre wood, with Pooh Bear and Friends being performed by full-body puppeteers. The show was not only popular, but its style was simple to produce, especially in comparison to hand-drawn animation. The format was so lucrative that a spin-off of sorts would be created a mere 2 years after Pooh Corner's debut. But instead of focusing on the bear of very little brain, this show would highlight an elephant with ears big enough to fly. Dumbo the Flying Elephant, with his oversized ears and bubbly hiccups, is one of Disney's most recognizable characters. The cartoon elephant made his silver screen debut in Walt Disney's 1941 film, Dumbo, based on a story by Helen Aberson Mayer. The film is an uplifting tale of a circus elephant triumphing over adversity and ridicule for the way that he looks. When he discovers that his ears give him the ability to fly, what was once a source of embarrassment becomes a source of pride. The exact opposite can be said for the film itself, as it is now one of the few Disney films that the company presents with a disclaimer for its propagation of racial stereotypes. Dumbo is also unique in that it is one of the shortest Disney animated features at just over 60 minutes. And despite its happy ending, it is one of the most heavy and at times bizarre Disney films ever created. However, none of this could stop the elephant from soaring, and Dumbo would become an icon, making his way into Disney's theme parks and merchandising galore. Even in Disney's post-film property capitalization, Dumbo is somewhat unusual, in that the film's titular star has remained the center of attention, with the film's side characters not receiving much focus. While characters such as Timothy Q. Mouse and Casey Jr. would not be forgotten, Dumbo was unlike the other films of its era, such as Snow White, in which the dwarfs became as iconic as the princess, or Pinocchio, in which Jiminy Cricket sometimes stole the spotlight. So when the Disney Channel planned to create a show based on the film, two things were certain: Dumbo would need to be the focus, and additional side characters would need to be created. The uncertainty was the show's premise. Dumbo, despite tragic scenes throughout, has a perfectly happy ending. Timothy is running the circus, and Dumbo is reunited with his mother. Unlike the characters of the 100-Acre Wood that find themselves on a new adventure every day, Dumbo ends with the perfect Disney happily ever after, with no further story or conflict in sight. Therefore, a TV show based off of the movie would need to find its own premise. A final complication was that in the film, Dumbo never speaks, an issue that would need dealing with in any sort of long-form show. Despite these hurdles, the Disney Channel moved forward with the series. Utilizing a similar puppetry and presentation style as Welcome to Pooh Corner, the new show, titled Dumbo Circus, would debut on May 6, 1985.
Dumbo Circus, flying out of the sky. You'll never see another show like this.
Dumbo Circus serves more as a spin-off to the 1941 film than a direct sequel. The premise of the show is that Dumbo is the leading act in his own traveling circus. The elephant is no longer a baby, and he can now speak.
Oh boy, that was fun! And speaking of fun, it's time to start the sideshow!
Actress Katie Lee, who also voiced Rolf in Muppet Babies, provided the voice for the flying elephant, who would interestingly stand as the only character from the original film to appear in the television show. Timothy Q. Mouse, Mrs. Jumbo, and Casey Jr. would not appear. Instead, a new cast of side characters was created for Dumbo's circus troupe. One new character would be a koala ringmaster named Fair Dinkum. He is from Australia, and his name is derived from an Australian phrase. Like Pooh Corner, the puppeteers would not use their own voice for their characters, and voice actors were hired for the cast. Fair Dinkum was puppeteered by Patty Maloney, who portrayed Lumpy in the Star Wars Holiday Special, and was voiced by Hal Smith, who at the same time was voicing Winnie the Pooh and Eeyore for Welcome to Pooh Corner.
My family used to go to the circus all the time when I was a little koala back in Australia.
Another character in the troupe was Sebastian, a trickster alley cat that served as the circus's janitor despite having a ventriloquist act.
You Well, are you sure that's what real ventriloquists do? No, Sebastian, that's not what real ventriloquists do. Real ones do it right.
Sebastian was lazy and often napped or tricked his friends into doing his work for him. A second cat character, Lily, would perform a tightrope act in the show.
There must be a way, there must be, for Dumbo the true and trusty.
QT was a strongman orangutan that was mellow when not performing.
I like to play Calliope. I like to play Calliope.
His character design is nearly identical to that of King Louie from the Jungle Book. Barnaby was a dim-witted dog magician with a thick country accent.
Yeah, I'm doggone clever that way.
Finally, while Dumbo would lose his friend Timothy Q. Mouse, he would be accompanied by a new character that would serve as his second-in-command, a lion named Lionel, who clearly drew inspiration from Timothy in both personality and performance. Lionel was voiced by Jim Cummings in the first acting role of his prosperous career.
Well, what do you know about that?
At the time, he was working in an Anaheim video store, and he gave his demo reel to a customer who was a producer. This eventually led to him being hired for Dumbo Circus. The full-body puppets used for the show were a noticeable improvement from the ones used for Welcome to Pooh Corner. Radio-controlled puppetry technology was improving dramatically in the early 80s, thanks to productions such as Welcome to Pooh Corner and Jim Henson's Fraggle Rock and Dark Crystal. While Pooh Corner's puppetry would do its job, there were a few noticeable issues, such as Pooh's sunken eyes to allow him to blink. The puppetry of the Dumbo Circus characters was much more fluid, although one or two characters retained a few of the issues. Unlike Welcome to Pooh Corner, Dumbo Circus would implement a cast of simple hand puppet characters that would appear as secondary characters throughout the series.
I know I shouldn't ask this, but, what's a zub-zub?
A bee that flies backwards.
Dumbo Circus opened each episode with its theme song, featuring Dumbo soaring through the sky, pulling along a circus wagon full of his companions. The wagon lands, and the circus team joyfully assembles their pop-up circus.
There will be music
And magic.
I hope you can come.
There'll be a few surprises.
And we'll have lots of fun.
Dumbo Circus.
Advertising it as the greatest little show on earth. Each episode would find the circus troupe traveling to various towns in which they would encounter a simple conflict or event. Like Pooh Corner, the plots of Dumbo Circus were basic, entertaining stories, some of which would teach simple lessons to preschool children. For instance, in Kite Day, Dumbo Circus lands in Windy Town to put on a kite show, only to discover that Windy Town is out of wind. While the main conflict revolved around finding enough wind to fly the kites, a subplot addressed how to make friends through fun activities, such as flying kites. In the episode Storybook Land, Dumbo and his pals get lost on their way to their next town and find themselves in a land of fairy tales. They encounter Little Bo Peep, Jack and Jill, Cinderella, and a handful of other well-known characters.
Can I help you?
Well, you sure can. You see, we've got this little problem.
A big spider!
Huh?
I only wanted a taste of her encouraging way.
The fairy tale characters help Dumbo and the troupe find their way to their next performance. The episode, Sebastian's Treasure, opens with Sebastian the cat surrounded by piles of junk. He sings about how even in their damaged state, the junk is still precious to him.
A moldy couch with broken springs. Suddenly, thy heart has wings.
After being told to clean up his mess by Lionel, Sebastian constructs a treasure shack to house his many valuables, and he convinces the troupe to use his junk in their acts. Lionel is concerned that Sebastian's seemingly useless possessions will weigh down the traveling circus, but in the end, Lionel learns the lesson that one man's trash is another man's treasure. While none of the episodes would add to the 1941 film, apart from Dumbo making a few passing references to his mother, there would be one episode that completely contradicts it. In Who's Got the Feather, the show tackles anxiety as Dumbo nervously searches for his magic feather before a big show. Worried he won't be able to fly without it, he and his pals sing songs and try different silly objects to replace it.
So it's up with the banners and up with the tent. If we don't sell those tickets, we can't pay the rent.
His friends decide that Dumbo should try to fly without his feather, and as he is in the midst of a panic attack, his friends slingshot him to the top of the circus and encourage him to jump. Lily is concerned that he is too nervous to fly without his feather, although everyone else seems fine with the plan. Except Dumbo, of course. It is then revealed that Sebastian has the feather because he is a liar. Lily scolds him, grabs the feather, and climbs to Dumbo to give him his power to fly. In so doing, she causes Dumbo to fall as he grabs the feather on his way down. Things look really bad for a few seconds before he flaps his wings and flies, thanks to the feather. Which is odd, considering the climactic scene of the 1941 film reveals that the feather is not actually magic, and that his ability to do great things was inside of him all along. Dumbo Circus, the TV show, claims that Dumbo needs the feather to fly, despite many scenes of him flying without the feather in the show. Also, while overly fastidious, the feather in the show is red while the one in the film is black. The episode ends with the group punishing Sebastian by exploiting his acrophobia. Dumbo would often address viewers directly to let them know when it was time to sing a song or play a game. There were a number of original songs created for the episodes, most of which were written by Phil Barron.
Do the koala walla wiggle. Well, I've seen a lot of dances. I've seen the elephant twist and the monkey mashed potato, but never anything like this.
Barron was a member of a musical comedy duo, Willio and Philio, with Will Ryan. Both would provide their voices for characters in Welcome to Pooh Corner. Barron would write the show's theme and end song, as well as other songs for the show. Episodes would often include sideshows of the circus performers putting on their acts. Every episode ended with the same theme song, which was a reprise of the opening credits.
It's really been fun, but now it's done.
The team disassembles their tent and supplies while waving goodbye to the camera. Dumbo hitches himself to the wagon, carrying the circus and his pals, and places the feather in his trunk as they head off to the next town. The half-hour show did not feature any commercial breaks, as the Disney Channel ran its programming without any commercials, resulting in the final runtime of the episodes being around 27 to 28 minutes each. In its first season from May 6, 1985 to May 25, 1986, the Disney Channel aired a whopping 115 episodes of Dumbo Circus. Katie Lee stated that she had to dedicate 3 days a week for a year and a half to recording for the show, which she noted was not normal. The show stopped production after that point, with plenty of content for years of reruns. Episodes continued to air on the Disney Channel until 1997, when the channel began its transition to a basic cable channel and commercial breaks were implemented.
They're all part of Dumbo Circus. Next, on the Disney Channel.
This was the same reason that Welcome to Pooh Corner and many of the Disney Channel shows stopped airing reruns on the newly branded Disney Channel. With its impressive 115 episode streak, Dumbo Circus held the record for the longest running Disney Channel program for over 15 years, before Bear in the Big Blue House finally took the crown. Despite Dumbo Circus's incredible, albeit quick, run, the show was not given any special treatment by the Disney Channel, or really any treatment at all. The most Disney Channel did to acknowledge the show was displaying Dumbo's wagon prop on the backlot of Disney MGM Studios theme park. Unlike Welcome to Pooh Corner, Dumbo Circus never had any VHS releases, and due to the time period in which it aired, home recordings of the program are difficult to find. The majority of Dumbo Circus is considered lost media, and only around 15 of the 115 episodes have been found. If a recording is located, fans have had to guess the corresponding title based off of TV listings and short episode descriptions. According to the Lost Media Wiki, fans are not even sure that there are 115 episodes, as only 114 episode titles have been confirmed. Dumbo Circus was a fascinating series. It is a spin-off to both the animated film and Welcome to Pooh Corner. It created an entirely new cast of characters, and it gave a voice to its previously silent main character.
You know, Lily, I've been in the circus my whole life, but I don't think it'll ever seem the same again.
The show also paved the way for many other TV series adaptations of Disney's animated features. Welcome to Pooh Corner, using A.A. Milne's characters and the numerous Disney adaptations as source material, did not require extensive creative effort to create the show's premise. Dumbo Circus, on the other hand, had to essentially reinvent the wheel, showcasing the challenges and providing possible solutions to the issues that other television adaptations would face for the company in the future. Unfortunately, Dumbo Circus has not maintained the same active fan base as Pooh Corner, likely due to the lack of episodes available to watch, but the show is still remembered warmly by those that viewed it during its 12-year run on the Disney Channel. And while the memories of the show fade as nearly 90% of the episodes remain lost, there are many fans that hope for an official release, or even better, for the greatest little show on earth to fly to a town near them.
Now it's time for us to move on, but we'll be putting on another show soon. See you then.
This episode of DefunctTV is sponsored by Topps Disney Collect. I remember loving card trading when I was younger, and the Topps Disney Collect app has recreated that fun and added much, much more. Topps Disney Collect lets you collect cards with your favorite Disney characters and trade them with other Disney fans, including me, username The Purge. Some of the more rare cards feature exclusive or rarely seen concept art and comics, such as in the new Dumbo Heritage set, which has gorgeous art that appeals to me as a fan of animation history, and will of course excite any fan of Dumbo. You can get free cards and coins daily in the arcade or by completing missions. Make sure to download Topps Disney Collect on iOS or Android today, and follow me to start trading. Username, The Purge.